How do you manage credit cards? How do you ensure that it doesn't negatively impact your credit? How do you make sure that you don't pay any interest at all and you benefit from whatever incentives the credit card offers? Hi guys, I'm on my way from work and it just came to me that I can use the time to make that video for you that you've been asking me to make. So I'm gonna try to see how many things I can cover in this video. It's about financial stuff. So I know somebody had asked me about credit. Well, I had promised to give you information about credit cards and how to use your credit cards effectively, as well as someone else reached out to me asking me how do they go about getting a mortgage, like they don't have any clue how to start or what it is that they need to consider or think about before they think about getting, or when they're thinking about getting a mortgage. So I think those were the two things. No, also I wanted to give you some tips on how you can manage your credit in Jamaica. So as most of you know, I'm in banking. Whatever I'm going to share with you is going to be based on my experience with the institution I work with. I'm not operating in the capacity as a let's say, like, put it this way, there are marketing rules in place and social media policies in place. So I'm not calling any names, so please don't ask me which bank or whatever. If you know already, you know, and if you don't know, then you don't know, but the information is still very applicable. Okay, so first things first, credit cards. How do you manage credit cards? How do you ensure that it doesn't negatively impact your credit? How do you make sure that you don't pay any interest at all and you benefit from whatever incentives the credit card offers? So I'm not sure if you know, this may be new to some of you, but one of the reasons I don't use a debit card any at all, other than when I need to get cash, is because my credit card will give me more benefits than my debit card. So there are different types of credit cards and they come with different benefits or different incentives, so to speak. MasterCard, with the institution I work with, I don't know if it's general, is usually associated with travel miles or travel points. So whenever you use your MasterCard, you earn miles or you earn points. You don't have to use it for traveling. You can use it to shop online. So I use mine to shop on Amazon, because you can get a virtual card that you can use to shop online, any site, Shein, Amazon, wherever. So the value of the points can convert to dollars, US dollars, and you can shop with it. So that's one. So you basically use it as a regular credit card. It's just that you don't get a physical card in your hand. With Visa, it is usually associated with cashback. So I have both. I have a MasterCard and I have a Visa card. The Visa card now, the one that I have gives me cashback every quarter. So the more I spend, the more I get. Different cards will give you different percentages. So you can get up to 3% cashback on some cards, right? And that can essentially cover your annual fee for the year. So, and more than cover it if you're spending, if you're really using your card. So all credit cards come with an annual fee. That is the only fee that I would say is a must that you have to pay. So if you're thinking about a credit card, just know that you must pay a fee. It's a we call it a joining fee or an annual fee, and you will pay that once every year for the benefit of using that card. But as I said, the benefits, in my opinion, outweigh the cost that you would pay for it. We have cards that start from, like, on the personal side, cards will start like maybe about 4,000 per year, somewhere there. I don't do personal stuff, I do business stuff, so I can tell you the business one starts at about 7,500 a year, but at the personal ones start cheaper. So if you're interested in getting a credit card, know that you're gonna pay an annual fee. In terms of when you get that card and you activate that card, now the annual fee is charged. You have what you call, there are some important things that you need to know or pay attention to. 3 things in particular. One is your statement date. Your statement date is the date that they print your statement every month. It's just like your light bill or your flow bill. It's printed the same time every month, right? So you just make sure you know that date, because they have different cycles. So it could be the 5th of the month, it could be the 12th of the month, it could be, I think, the 19th, or it could be the 26th. Whichever date that your statement is printed, it is going to be due 25 days after that. So let us say, for example, your statement date, like mine, is the 5th of the month. Whatever I owe as at the 5th of a month, let's use October coming up now, for example. October 5, the bank will generate my statement and say, as at this date, you owe X amount of money. Let us say I owed $100,000, right? Then it would mean that it is now due 25 days later, and that now is your due date. So your statement date is when it is printed, your due date is 25 days later. And I think that's a general thing right across banks, right? You get 25 days. So if I don't want to pay anything extra, no late payment fee, no interest, no nothing else, just pay back the $100,000 that I use and make sure that I pay it back within 25 days. That would take me to October 30th. So I have 25 days within which to pay the $100,000 that I had outstanding as at my statement date. If, however, I decided that I wanted to buy something very expensive, like let's say when I'm going to PriceSmart, for example, I will probably say, okay, let me go after my statement is printed, because that way I'll have a longer time to repay. So you technically can get up to 55 days interest free, because if I were to use the card on October 6th, it is not due and will not be due on October 30th. That amount is gonna be due on November 30th. So if I were gonna buy a plane ticket, for example, I would wait until my statement date has passed, so that come October month end I can probably pay down a half of what I owe, and then come November month end I pay down the next half. So that's how you benefit from the 55-day interest-free period on a credit card. There is something, so I told you about statement date, I told you about due date. Then the third thing is the current balance. The current balance is what you owe presently. When you're looking at your statements online or anywhere, current balance is what you now owe. So you could look at your online banking and you owe $300,000, but your $300,000 that you owe is not due. All of it is not due October 30, because you may have spent some of that after the time. If you can and if you choose to pay off all of it, no problem at all, but you're not mandated to. For the persons who love to pay minimum payment, or who don't really understand minimum payment, because we'll see a lot of that where people pay the minimum and think that everything is okay. What it does, if you pay just the minimum amount is like 4% of your statement balance. So if you owe $100,000 on your statement, the minimum payment is $4,000. But if you pay just that $4,000, you will be charged interest on the daily balances that you had throughout the month. And if you had big balances, that can work out to a good amount of money. So if you don't want to pay the interest, pay the statement balance. If you can afford to pay the interest, sometimes the interest will just have to catch you, because you will know if it is something worth investing in and you need to spend some money. Let's say your limit is $200,000, you spend $195,000, you have $5,000 left on the card, you don't have all of the money to pay back the bill, and you say, okay, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet this month, and I know some interest gonna catch me. Then you just budget yourself for it, expect it, and you pay a minimum payment or you pay a portion of it, but the interest will catch you once you don't clear your statement balance. So I think that is pretty much everything you need to know about credit cards. In terms of your credit bureau report, the closer you stay under your credit card limit, it is the more it negatively impacts your credit score. So there is something that they call your credit utilization. So you see, if you constantly go over your limit, if your limit is 200,000 but you're constantly going to 210, 215, or interest and charges are taking you over, then it is going to impact your score negatively. So I think that's as much as I need to tell you, or I can recall to tell you about credit cards. But if you still have questions, let me know. No, so that's for credit cards. For mortgages, I would say the first thing you need to do is to check with a loan officer and find out, let them tell you what you are eligible for. Let them tell you if you are eligible for a mortgage. So whether you're local here in Jamaica or you're overseas, we have different requirements, and they will tell you what is required. For locally employed persons, it's usually a job letter and your last 3 pay slips, and they can tell you how much you can get. For if you're not banking with the institution that you're going to, they may ask you for a printout of your salary account wherever your salary goes. But it's pretty straightforward for salaried employees. If you're self-employed, then it depends. If you actually operate a business account, then I would suggest you do it through the business, because if you're a sole trader, it will still be in your name, and we do offer mortgages for businesses to buy residential properties. You can buy residential properties or you can buy commercial properties. So if you're operating a business account, that may be your easiest option. But if you're going through the business, you can't use NHT, because that now becomes an it's going to be treated as an investment property. So you're not going to be able to get the NHT benefit through the business. If you want to use the NHT benefit, you have to do it on the personal side. That usually requires more documentation. So we're talking about income tax returns, and then that is a whole sore point, because a lot of self-employed people don't pay the right amount of taxes. So when you are ready to say, okay, this is what I really earn from my business, you might get a letter from an accountant that says, I earn 700,000 per month from my business. But when they ask you for you go to NHT and they give you a letter, eligibility letter, that says you get a 0% interest rate, which we know 0% would be for persons earning less than 30,000 per week. So there's gonna be a conflict. They're gonna ask for your income tax returns, and if you're filing for, let's say, 1.6 million a year or 1.7, then you're gonna have a problem. So you can do it, but you do have the option to do it through the business, but you would benefit from NHT. And I would tell anybody, if you are eligible for NHT for your first purchase, use it. Because once you have, right now it's 9 million per person through NHT, and if you don't use it and you acquire property, once your name appears on a title, you can't get that 9 million again, even if you didn't get it through NHT. So unless you don't have a choice, like you're not eligible for it, then fine. If you're overseas, you would need job letter. If you're salaried, job letter, 6 months pay slips, print out on your salary account for a year, last 2 years income tax returns, and a credit bureau report, a detailed credit bureau report. So that's where you would start with your mortgage officer, because they will guide you through the entire process. If you need to find a realtor to find a property afterwards, you can always do that afterwards. So we did credit cards, we did mortgage, and then I said general tips for how to manage your account, right? If you're self-employed, pay yourself. Make sure you have a personal account that you transfer money to every fortnight or every month or whatever. Pay yourself. Pay the taxes for whatever salary you say you're giving yourself, but show that you have personal income, because that is very important. On the business side now, you have a business account, utilize the account fully, pass monies through the account consistently. So as much as you can pass through, pass it through. So if you have a business and you have a card machine, anybody want to use them card, let them use their card, because that money is going to go straight into the account. So it helps with tracking your revenues. The bank can see that you are earning and have a good idea as to what you can manage. Also, keep money on the account. If you come in and you want a loan that's going to cost you $200,000 per month, you should be having more than $200,000 per month available on the account, because you want to show that you do have a surplus available for debt servicing. So so pass monies through and keep monies in the account as best as you can. Still pay your bills, pay yourself, do what you have to do, but don't just rely on cash for everything. You know how some people, like, they just make the money and they spend it back. There is no record of it anywhere. That can't help you. Or for the people who keep on putting it in their personal account, business money is business money. Separate the business from yourself. So I actually have to go now. I'm actually stopping with a customer now to drop off some bags and stuff. So yeah, that's it. If you do have more questions, let me know, but I think that was a mouthful. So I hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments if it was useful, and feel free to ask any other questions that you may have. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.